All right, everybody. Hey, guess what? It is currently Saturday, March 14th, 2020. And we are ready for Ed and his information. And I got a munchkin on my lap, so I'm a little bit distracted. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, Ed, why don't you take it away? And yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for joining. It's been a rough ride for me here lately. As most know, I've been in and out dealing with the medical, and I just spent the last month in and out of hospital, and they did a stent surgery on me, and so who knows? It's been up and down. So, but right now, the goal is to make sure that we're getting the kids educated and know what's going on right now, so this way people get to comprehend what's going on in your local court system. Because remember, your local court system is not a court. Once you start accepting that fact and stop accepting all these other things that people get told they need to go believe in and go stand by, that's the problem we have. Too many people are out there saying too many things and don't even know what they're really talking about. So, but anyhow, we know that the cities and counties have no authority unless you give them authority under the 14th Amendment. So this is the whole point of getting this thing properly educated. I'm trying to get caught up on a couple of things I wanted to get going here, and I'm trying to get those things brought up because I wasn't prepared, because it's been a long day for me. Anyhow, I wanted to get into, so you guys comprehend, the point is that if they don't have an actual warrant signed by a judge, it does not exist. And this is the one thing, you've got to insert your rights. And this is the one thing that I've been trying to get people to more and more comprehend. You got to file to own yourself and your children. People say, well, it doesn't matter. What does that do? And it's like, you have to put it on record that you own you. And so that way they cannot say that, we could give you an attorney and you're a slave. You have to prove them that you own you and you know your rights. And this is the bottom line it comes down to, that you have to know your rights and know your children's rights. Because they're not going to get you the evidence because the state's working against you. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm running for office right now. People have asked me, why would I be doing this? And it's like, people, you got to get a hold of the reality here. You and I have been through these ups and downs with these systems. We know how they are raping our system and destroying things, and we know that they're violating their oath of office. So now we've got them nailed on it. So how are we going to do it? We got to make sure it's publicly known, and that's the whole point. I'm getting ready when I file this other paperwork this week. I'm not going after the money. I'm going after their jobs. I want their homes. Because they've made the mistake and they're liable with their assets. And this is the one thing that you got to realize. And we've been putting this up on the Facebook pages. And if you haven't got it, make sure that you email me and I'll make sure you get it. Because once we start winning these court cases and making sure that they are not above you or I, and that is the point. These public servants say that they have an obligation to protect you. Well, they don't. The Supreme Court says they don't. And so, and we know that. I mean, I know that even in my own county, That's part of the reason why I'm running for office. And it's like, so the whole point is that we know that they are doing this to us and, destroying our communities for their personal and financial gain. And I find it interesting, it's like, it's really disturbing me, and I'm going to be deleting this from my post on my Facebook. These guys just really get to me sometimes. They know Kevin Davenport, be careful with him. He's a Cape Browner, and I don't care what he tells me. He knows I do what I'm doing every Saturday, and then he's got to sit there and try to do everything above me and try to play these games, and I've been dealing with him. And you got to watch out for these people on these Facebook and these channels, what they're out there doing. You really got to pay attention to these people of who they're working for. You know, he's out there saying, oh, you know, for Eugene, what has he done? So, but anyhow, let's get into the structure of owning your child. And this goes to the point that people got to realize that Kate Brown just have done this where she put an executive order to put climate change into effect. Now, these are the changes that we have to stand up and say, no, we're a carbon unit, Kate Brown, we're not paying you. And you guys got to realize that. This is going across the country. They're doing this. You know, this is the one thing I've been posting up on the Facebook pages, you know, dealing with Kate Brown, the coronavirus, you know, send a copy of it. Send your sample to Kate Brown. You know, she's saying she's going to fix all these problems. See, this is what all these people are so full of them when they're out there sitting there campaigning and giving you a line. I'm sitting there going, hey, here's the law. Let's make sure these people do their job. And remember, on the U.S. Code 912, officer and employees of the United States. And I want you to realize that you have elected and public employees, and this comes to the Title 18 U.S. Code 912, officers and employee of the United States. That's your mayor, that's your city council, that's your, well, when we first started doing the fishing, we were doing the deal on the coast, putting the Oregon coast structure. I'll get that here in a second. But when they're sitting there, these people went to colleges and university. They had no jobs, so they ended up working on the fish ladders and all these fish projects. And like the Central Coast put together West Coast Cade for the Council for the Government. And that was all these college, university people that didn't have jobs. So, you know, it's frustrating to see how they've arranged all that so they could always arrange to put it on the taxpayers. He's saying that, you know, we need these professionals out there. So when they're sitting there and telling you that they have authority over you, you want to be able to say, hey, here's the U.S. Code, and I would like you folks to sit there and read this stuff and make sure you have it with your kids, because I want you to read this for yourself so you comprehend the U.S. Code, because once you start realizing that's obligation of money, finances, anything that these people get paid to do, they violate their oath of office. That's a federal crime. They don't want you to know that. I mean, our prisons are so wrapped up in profit taking, and I know that the only way Lincoln County. I mean, you could always type me in, Edward Johnson, Toledo, Oregon, on YouTube channel where one of the governor's aides was trying to assault me, and it's on YouTube videos. But this is the one point that these guys, and everybody keeps going, well, sue them. I said, no, I want these people to come out and admit their guilt. Because what am I going to do? Sue them. I file in the courts. What happens when you file in the courts? So now I've got it where I'm going to be filing in the Supreme Court, and the right court's coming up. So, but that's going to take me a little while because, like I said, I just got back out of the hospital again, and it's been an interesting road the last year. So I don't know if it's all the up and downs and turmoils of possibly some of the things in my life. But that's life, you know. So bringing this stuff to life needs to be done on these public servants. And that's the one thing that we got to make sure the public servants know that they have to serve us. Now, I'm getting this deal with Obama again. We know Obama is not even an American. He was a plant for the Queen of England. That's just a basic fact. And we're getting into, I'll be posting some more stuff up on allodial titles. I want to get into it. I wanted to get into the structure dealing with people who are not filing on their homes, especially in Oregon. I've been putting this out with the original Constitution of the state of Oregon. And we have a contract as we being living in Oregon and on the West Coast, that West Coast Constitution. gives us the right to own our property and soil so long as our bloodline goes back to the 1890s. So these things do matter, knowing what's going on. These things have a major effect on your life, is knowing how to have these things in your hand when you're going into these courts. Now, when I write my letters, I bury these guys with letters all the time, and some of you folks get them. I do email them out to bulk to a lot of people, usually anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 a week. I do email them out, and in the House and Senate, I get them out to everybody. So if you'd like to get some of the new letters I've been putting out with the criminal structure, please ask that. I will get them to you. Email me, and I'll get that to you. So be careful with other people out there that are saying what they're doing, and you're not getting results. You know, everybody wants to go with the coronavirus right now. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, that's the one thing, you know. We got people going out there putting terror and fear into everybody, and what are you going to do about it? You can't do nothing about it. So it's just simple. Don't go out. Stay away from people. You know? Of course, you know, too bad for the sporting events and all that. You don't get it. That's what they're doing. Closing down the events because they know that you're too afraid to go to a sporting event, so they're winning. You know? So, I mean, you got to realize, you know, they're getting it on both sides. These corporations are writing it off on both sides. So, and it's sad. And that's the point where you need a file to own yourself and make sure that you start doing that. Now, the thing that gets to me in Canada, they put out the carbon tax bill, and I've got this on the website. And this is the one thing we need to pay attention, because Oregon is doing this right with Cape Brown just did its executive order to charge you $90 a month. Cape Brown's Administrative Emergency Act charges you $90 a month to breathe air. And this is the one thing that people ain't getting, this carbon tax. It's all about breathing air. Has nothing to do with the pollutants because it's so simple. It's like I live in a mill town. It's so simple. Shut the mill down. Stop the pollution right now. Done deal. No biggie. Solve the pollution. And we have to deal with the drain and drain off and all the contaminants for the next 100, 150, 200 years or whatever in this region. And you can't build and you can't do that again in this region. So that way the ground has a chance to heal. And you never do that type of destruction to the soil again. So the Cape Brown is going off on this to charge you in your grocery bills, and you're going to see this new tax in the grocery bill is going to be a 15-cent state. They're going to have it say state insurance. And so you'll be seeing that coming up on your grocery bills and receipts, and you're going to go, wait a minute, what's this? And you're going to see this coming up, state insurance, 15 cents. So they got a lot of stuff that they've been putting through these House and Senate bills that people are not paying attention and getting. And I'm trying to get this stuff out to the general public. And if we're not paying attention to what's really going on in front of our face, we are definitely in trouble here. So, and we got quite a few things that they're coming up with these new taxes. And so I've been posting out dealing with your native rights. If you prove that you have native rights, file for them, please. Make sure you get that done. And you're saying, why? I've had a lot of people say, well, you know, you don't need to. Well, that's up to you. But a lot of people are getting it because you have to claim it. You have to prove you're lawful. You have to prove you're native. Native does not just mean Indian. Read the 14th Amendment. But see, these amendments and these structures, when they put these things together, and people are not paying attention to what they really mean. And these things have a lot of meaning to protect our bloodlines and our way of life. And it's not about religion. That's the one thing that people are not comprehending. This is not about religion. This is about equal rights for man. and woman. And so we lose that, we're all in trouble. This has nothing to do with one's religion or religious belief or one's Bible. It just comes down to the structure is that if we don't start paying attention and protecting, our rights and quit arguing about religion, well, that's what they got everybody arguing about religion, and it just makes me sick because how many people are not paying attention when we're sitting there arguing about some fictitious corporation that may or may not exist. That's what I just don't get, how people don't see that. So, but anyhow, it's been interesting for me and my road here lately. And so I want to pull up something, try to get on the internet if I can get on. I'm trying to get on. Okay, let me see if I can get on because I wanted to bring up a couple things. Sorry, I wasn't really prepared tonight. It's been a awkward situation. Just finally got home for the first time in a while. Oh, come on. So let me go back over to Facebook and go back to my structure over here. So, but anyhow, sorry, I don't mean to lose track here. So, but the other point that's coming down the pike is that you got to pay attention because they're getting ready to put some deals out on the cities and counties. Now, I'm arguing with the city of Toledo right now. They put a hidden sales tax into the structure of the city fines. And this is the one thing that people have got, and it's not only in the city of Toledo. And I will make sure those emails hopefully are out to the general public. Anybody who wants to get those emails I've been putting together since I was in the hospital for the last basically 4 months, make sure you get the email so you can actually read what I've been putting together, what's going on, what they don't want you to know, what they're going to be doing to you in your city. See, right now they're trying to privatize the cities, and people are not getting it. They're going, oh, the city has rights when the city has no rights. Your mayor, city council members have no rights and authority over you. But you have to be polite and put these things out there to the deal, and people are saying, well, that doesn't matter. You got to wake up. It does matter. They are putting these things through and shocking everybody in these decisions like what they're trying to do. Kate Brown just put an executive order to overtake the House and Senate. And that's real. This is something what people have got to stand up. And this is the one thing please go on to new.org and trackers. Read what I got up there. Please read that filings I got on Kate Brown. Because this does matter what they're doing because Kate Brown works for the Queen of England. You got to comprehend, and people say it doesn't matter. It's like Obama was in Hawaii. He was born in Hawaii. They said, okay, 50th state. Technically, there's only 48 states in the Union. I mean, it's knowing the real history and knowing what that is. And Obama was born in Hawaii and technically owned by the Queen of England. And that comes under Title 28.2003. So, and then this is the other point, dealing with the real things. Realizing that if you own land, you're using it by your surname. So you don't own your land unless you own it outright with your bill of sale that's with gold and silver or something that you have, or you have filed on your land that they never responded. You have to have something in writing on these things, and I post them, even what I've done on my soil, because in that way, their corporation by law has to be represented by a corporation lawyer. Well, then I've got my filings up there that are represented. It's just, learning how this system works. And also, too, we want to get this out. If you would like to get I can send this to you, and I posted it up, too, is the communist legal supervision. And this is the role of the communist lawyer. And this is what you're dealing with, the instruction of the lawyers that you're dealing with today. And so, and also too, I want to give a big kick for Greyhound because they always had that free ride home for kids. But this is the one thing on his legal documents. See, you got to realize that when these people read this stuff going back in history, and you got to realize that some of these people were indoctrinized in this way of thinking that you might not know, but this is the way these people are trying to think or trained to believe in. And so this is why we got the craziness that's going on in our society right now. You know, we got everybody in their religious standing fighting each other. Why is everybody fighting in religion? When it really comes down to it, who gives a shit about your religion or you give a shit about my religion? Isn't that we're supposed to be making sure that we're supposed to be standing up to make sure that you're free and I'm free? I mean, you know, I just went through that religious structure off and on. You know, it's interesting. You know, when you go through certain medical procedures, and then they want to send you to clergy, and do you have any last rights? And it's like, what is he talking about? You know, last rights. There's no guilt complex. That's the problem with people. Mind control. So, and this is the other point that gets to me. They're doing this research, and they're bringing this crazy research on marijuana or hemp to people. Remember, just grow your own seeds. Stay in that deal. Remember, the main point, the 13th Amendment does exist. I've been putting that out. I've even emailed that to the entire state of Oregon, House and Senate. I've had them dispute that. I've sent a conflict of interest statement in my emails while I was in the hospital. So they can't say they did not get it. Neither can the mayor of Toledo, the city council. You know, I was sending all these stuff out when I was in the hospital and ICU the last couple of months. Yeah, and also, too, I've been getting this out, and you got to realize that if you're living in the West Coast and Oregon Territory, the 14th Amendment approved. You got to remember, we are still dealing with the British government. And people say, no, we're not. We're dealing with the One World Order. You guys got to realize it's still a contract. Nobody can interfere with those contracts, international contracts. That's why I go to native treaties, you know, say they can't be taxed. The Indians can't be taxed. That's natives cannot be taxed. That's in the treaties by the British government. And I put those up, and anybody, you know, email those, and I published them with that Oregon State House and Senate. You know, and this is the one point that we've got to start putting these things up and standing up on these things. Because each state, we need to make sure that each state is doing this. So, and if you got stuff that you like to post on new.Oregon Trackers, make sure that you go onto our website and email it to us. We'll post it up on the website. You know, because we've got to get this stuff really moving. People are picking up. They are getting it. You are seeing changes. We are seeing changes. You know, I'm glad that I'm still here watching and seeing these changes. You know, and I've been saying these things for some time on these changes. But the thing is, when we get these things, instead of going up and humiliating some of these public employees that are finally getting it, all right, make your amends. It's simple. Come out and make your amends. You know, that's the one thing you want to make sure that you're able to sit there and make sure you can come up and tell these people how to make their amends. See, that's the one thing. When you get people knowing how to make their amends, it's so simple. You know what? I'm going to go after these cops for $100 million. What is that going to do? If they honor their oath of office and the right ones, you know, honor it, the other ones get fired, what am I going to do? I mean, you know, I've already got the pain and suffering. So that is the one thing that I'm dealing with right now today on these things. So this is the one thing that, you know, paying attention to how these things work around you. That is the main thing. Seeing how these things really work around you. Knowing how these things work around you. Seeing the propaganda that is given to you by your mayor and city councilman. I mean, I'm watching this up here in Portland, Oregon, where they're trying to go after and shut down the people living in Portland near the airports and all this stuff, coming up with all these new administrative rules, and it's like these people got to file criminal charges on them. They have to do it. They're the ones who are affected by it. They are the ones who are aired by it. See, that's the one thing. The people who are being injured are the ones that have the authority. Because you can do a class action lawsuit, but a class action gets dismissed and everybody's gets dismissed. But you go after individually, and in one case, everybody wins. So, but I mean, that's the one thing is stepping out and watching these the structure work around you. Now, we've got this thing that's going to be coming up that is going to be interesting to see what's going to be coming up here in Oregon, coming up with a new administration. They're doing this. I'm just surprised with the Republican and Democratic Party. How come people have not, I'm watching the media coming up with stupid statements in the media, and I can't believe that people are not responding to these people by turning their TV off. Even Fox News coming out and saying, "Oh, we're a democracy now." Excuse me, Hannity is preaching a democracy channel now. Hannity is preaching that we're British saved and we're not an American channel anymore. Look at your TV and radio stations. Most of them are not even American radio stations and TV stations anymore. They're all British. So, I mean, it's like, who's running who? I mean, are you not seeing the changes right in front of your face? And then all I hear is people sitting there and want to whine about it instead of standing up and stopping it. It's simple. Turn off those TV channels. We've got a lot of things going for us in this country, and realizing that once you start filing your oath of office and you start following through in those points of views, we've got so much that we could change. I mean, I've been having fun with the medical society in a lot of regards because these guys trying to tell me, oh, this ain't this way or this ain't that way, and then I give them the law. And then they go, oh. It's like doctors at one point were saying, "Hey, we don't know why you do this." Well, I want to let you guys know. I know what you guys are supposed to know. You guys have to protect yourself, don't you? What do? Trust attorneys? So it is getting people to comprehend these situations of what it is to protect thyself. And I always have fun when I hear this from people that drives me nuts when they say, "Well, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. I shouldn't know those things." And I'm thinking to myself, are you that ignorant to your own intelligence that you cannot read something and make a decision, but you'll go read a biblical scripture and interpret the Bible the way you want to interpret the Bible? But you're saying you're not a lawyer, so you can't dictate and read what a lawyer is reading? What a bizarre statement you hear from people out of their mouth on that. I can't believe somebody would sit there and say, well, I mean, I can read the Bible and interpret the Bible, but I can't read a law or administrative rule and comprehend what they mean. And you hear that from people at time to time. It does make you wonder how people think or not think. And so we're faced with a lot of stuff when we're dealing with a lot of these issues that we're dealing with and living with today. And we are living with quite a few issues and changes. And people are not realizing what's going to be coming down the pike. Because if they get this administrative deal through, we don't start getting this new election changed around and get some people in office that are actually meaning stuff. Because I thought it was interesting because Gene Cowan is running all the Lincoln County election stuff. Gene Cowan is the one that tried to have me assassinated with, this is all in the reports. And, so just interesting. So I see the game. Well, it's going to be coming down to a very simple fact. I'm just going to let the facts speak for itself, the evidence I'm putting up. I will be posting the paperwork in the Inspector General's report in 2006. I do still have some of that stuff, so I'll make sure it gets posted. Because this way you can start seeing people, how these people do this stuff to you in your own community. And if you don't go along with what they say, or hell, they'll attack you through a church in your community because you don't believe the way they believe. It's sad. We see this happen all the time. I've been watching it in my community for 30 years. And then every once in a while you watch how it changes from who's running what part of the city or town, or who's trying to control something of the area. I'm in a small town. I'm not in a big city like some people are. But it's just, even a big city, you sort of see how it really works too. It doesn't really change. It doesn't change. The areas are just the same when it comes down to it. So, but right now with this election we got coming up, and everybody keeps telling me, Ed, you need to register. Well, I have gone over registration on this talk show before. I'm not a queen subject. I'm not going to give my authority over. Now, I've been told if I win the election, I'm supposed to register. Okay, well, I haven't won the election yet, so I can't say anything on that at this point, can I? Nor can anybody else. So, when people want to sit out there and spread rumors or stuff, listen to them, because I plan on seeing how many rumors are going to be spread around me this campaign, compared to what I've done in the past, and, what happened in, the last 20 years and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. But see, that's the one thing about all this stuff. When you stand up, you're not afraid when you're telling the truth. So, anyhow, we want to make sure that you folks start comprehending how to register yourself, prove your bloodline. When you go into an admiralty court system and you go into these court systems, you have to be able to file and prove that you're lawful or legal, knowing what you're going into the court system. You start doing that, you start paying attention to who's running your court system, who's doing what. When you go in, and if you're lawful, how to file on your rights. So that way you're filing in a lawful courtroom, not a legal courtroom. You do have your rights to do that. I strongly suggest that people really do that. Because if you don't do and file for your rights going in, you're not going to get your rights. You'll hear people say, don't do that, you just bow yourself to the queen or the judge. We already know if you bow your head, we already know what's going to happen. You're giving mercy to him. You want him to know that if you're telling the truth, you have nothing to hide, nothing to be shameful, anything, I've got the evidence, and here we go. And so that's the point that you want to be. If you have a situation where you have been criminally charged, then that's a different issue. So it is sitting back, paying attention to what, why, and how these things really work compared to what we think they work, and standing up for your rights. And if you're an illegal immigrant, well, You are at the beck and mercy. You have no rights. That is a fact. And so, and we're not, strongly suggest illegals or anything like that. We don't suggest immigrants, but we have to protect our bloodline in this country first. Sorry to say, folks, but if you don't get it, other countries do get it. They really do get it. And just because we have a lot of people in our country who don't comprehend how this reality works, because we don't protect our bloodline, we don't have a future. And that is the one thing we really got to do. So think about that, and think about how you're going to prove your bloodline. I've had people ask me this recently. My main thing I ask people, talk around their family, do some family research. Aunts, uncles, see where your family's been. Try to research as far back as you go from anybody that gives you the information. Write it down. Write it down. Make sure you got it on floppy disk. Make sure you got it on a piece of paper, a couple copies, something. Save the paper. Start building your case up. Build your evidence. Prove who you are. And then that way, when you start proving who you are, you don't have issues. So it is interesting when, you get the system doing the way they do their stuff at times. That's why my point of going into this whole election is to sit there and say, hey, here's the law. Now you're going to do the job. If you're not going to do the job, we're going to educate the people who you harmed. And those people who have been harmed, they are going to be educated how to go after you. And that's the only way we're going to have to start doing this. Because if we don't just start doing it any other way, if we don't start doing this now, there ain't going to be, they're already getting away with criminal stuff, and we haven't seen a lot of changes. We see good stuff in the paper, but we haven't seen the major changes locally. So, and that's the whole thing about this, is we got to start making sure that we can see the changes locally. And once we do that, now we're starting to be on top of the circumstances. So, and like I said, just step out and read a lot of reading. Anyhow, with that, I'm going to open up the floor. It's been a long week for me. I just got home because I haven't been home in a while. So I just got home yesterday.
All participants are unmuted.
Anybody? Okay. Nobody tonight. Okay, well, with that, then I guess I'll say good night. Catch up with you guys next Saturday. Go ahead.
I was on mute, couldn't get through. I just want to ask a question. In your site, I found it, and I haven't been able to find it since, is the right to travel. I saw something in there about the bar attorney saying that it's okay to do that too now. Is there any way I can find out where I could find that particular thing at?
Yeah, it's on the website, but didn't I email it to you? Aren't you the one that's in Colorado?
No, I'm in Utah. I don't think you have my email.
Okay, you go to my website, new.oregontrackers, click on the email there, and click on it twice and send me your email at least 2 to 3 times.
Okay.
And I will get it to you, because this is the one thing that I'm actually running for, as I'm running for county commissioner, because I'm putting this in the campaign, because I got the federal law that says you don't need a driver's license. I've got the state law that says you don't need a driver's license. And I'm told if I don't have a driver's license, if I travel in my covered wagon, I'm going to be shot on sight by the governor. I got a YouTube video with the police chief threatening me over this.
Oh, my heck.
So trust me, I've got more than that than these guys have threatened me. So I even had the judges try to kill me in jail. That didn't work, and like I said, I died 13 times. I've been through some shit, and I'm still here. So now I'm running for office, And so I'm opening up the deal going, people, I know how we're going to win this and fight this, because now I'm bringing it up in my campaign, and now I will make sure you get that email and that stuff from the federal court, so that way you can look in your state. And I don't know if we have your state up or not, because I do have a lot of states up that we've already done the research on it, and we've done it with the state administrative rule. But you can always type in your state, Utah, and type in on that is traveling with permission, and see the sites that will come up for you in Utah.
Okay, thank you.
You know, and then you start realizing those state sites will come up, and you can back it up, and you can start going back with that now. And do you have the information from the federal government that says that the Supreme Court says you don't need a driver's license?
Well, I think I have that, yeah.
Okay, and we have a lot of that up, and you can type my name in on the internet. My name comes up, and I got a lot of links. But that's the whole point, is bringing this stuff out, because if we're not standing up to this stuff, you know, these people are saying it's like, you know, they want to triple. I mean, I'm living on a postage stamp on my piece of property. I pay more taxes than my neighbor. He owns an acre. So let me tell you, if they don't sit there and segregate your property and, you know, do that. So I've been fighting them on that for 20 years. I've been there for 30 years. I didn't have an issue until I started really becoming political. And when I started talking, they knew I knew what I knew that they knew that I knew. So seeing that they're doing this is the point that now it's time that we need to start standing up and not be afraid of these public servants. They have an oath of office to do. They don't do their oath of office, and we want to make sure that we quote their structure that they have failed in the emails to them and the supervisors and to the court systems. And the one thing, too, is remember there are two court systems. There are an admiralty, maritime court, or you have tribunal court, military court, the same thing. You know, you can type those in, and you can go see what the third Constitution third court is. Article 3 court, they can only have witnesses. The injured party and the perpetrator, that's it. They cannot have, somebody said that Tom, Dick, and Frank said over their valley they heard this. You know, I mean, see, that's the one thing. They want to get you in these Article 1 legislative courts. And remember, that's your legislative courts. That's your city council, your city mayor, your county commissioner. Oh, that's right. That's what I'm running for. And that's also, too, your state representative and your senators. But see, people keep going that, oh, it's the British government in the structure. And technically, we are living that structure. But the point is when they did the 14th Amendment, they made sure that we were supposed to be separating our rights from admiralty law. We were supposed to be getting in office and protecting our bloodlines, not opening up the channels like Nancy Pelosi's opening up, feeding the world. You know, I mean, like San Francisco, I mean, I'm just disgusted in a way, the way San Francisco's turned out, because that came from the people that, you know, Nancy Pelosi, these people I grew up with. My grandfather, you know, when he worked for the city of San Francisco. I mean, I have a lot of friends and family that grew up in that town, and, you know, and then when I watched the way it turned into, and we were watching it turn into with all this liberal shit, but nobody knew how to separate the church and state bullshit. They would have separated the church and state right away. They wouldn't have half the problems they have. You know, I mean, those churches, the way the church groups turned out and stuff was just amazing. So, but, you know, we got a lot of work to do. So that's the one thing. I will be getting more out. I've got some other letters I'm going to be putting out in the campaign. So, and I'm doing that because I'm getting hit from several people asking me statements for the campaign. So when I do that, I'm going to be posting it on all four of the Facebooks. So I'll be posting on my Edward Johnson, you know, Recall Kate Brown, the United States for America Elected and Public Employees Oversight Committees, and we'll make sure it's on Civil War 1866 Facebook site. So I'll be posting all this stuff up with the numbers, how to go to it, with the research, with some of the other call numbers, because all these other guys out there right now, even Ken's Corner, everybody keeps going, you got to listen to this. I'm not seeing these other guys going after and prosecuting people. I mean, all these, and whatever, all these people out there, all I see them out there for handouts. We're, nonprofit agency, help us, help others. And I don't see them putting the court cases up. I don't see them walking people through the court cases and how to do the charges. So all I'm seeing is that these guys are out there just with their hands up, and we gotta, we gotta stay clear of some of these people who are like that. So anyhow, with that, anybody else got anything else? Well, if not, then we'll say thank you for joining us this evening. I will be getting more evidence out on this in my campaign. I will be having press releases going out to 7 different medias on the Oregon coast, so we'll see how those are going to be printed out. I'll have those out here in the next 72 hours. So I got my work cut out. Like I said, I just got back from the hospital. They put one stent in me 10 days ago. So I was up there for 3 weeks in the hospital, and they finally put one stent in. The x-rays, when I looked at them, I figured there should have been 2. And that was the ballpark, should have been 2. They only did 1 and possibly 3rd, but the 3rd, I wouldn't have done it either, but I would have done the 2. So I'm still fighting with some issues, but it's just what it is. So,
May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I went through all them heart problems. Mine was a quadruple bypass and all that. And the only prescription that the doctor gave me, he says, is stay away from politics. I don't care what else you do. He says, that'll kill you quicker than anything. He just thought I'd say that. I run for commissioner once too, and I'll tell you what, it does tend to make things go rough for a while.
Oh, no, but see, I'm going to have fun. See, I've already ran for state representative, commissioner. I ran for mayor in 2004, and I lost by the dead votes. That was actually in the Oregonian. I lost by the dead votes.
Yeah,
so
I run for a state legislature myself, and I made the mistake of running on the Democratic Party, which I'm not a Democrat, but it's the way it is around here. You got to understand how it works. And I understood how it worked. I knew you couldn't possibly win, but I wanted to see what it was all about. And I'll tell you what, I wish I'd have never got into that, but it does teach you a lot, don't it?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not regretting it because, see, what they've done, see, they try to force me out. They've tried it. I've been threatened so many times. I've been through so many things in life, but it's like the point is that I'm still here. And all their bullshit never succeeded to amount of hill of beans. I'm still on my soil. I filed these charges. Everybody's freaking out, walking around, and the thing is, when you run for office, it's just bringing the facts out. So It's not bumming me down. Go ahead.
I'm okay. Good luck to you.
Well, see, I'm looking at it, and then the one lady who's running the county format is former County Commissioner Gene Cowan, who actually in 2006 was in the Inspector General's report conspiring with the governor, trying to, or the mayor at the time, trying to have me murdered. This is all in police reports and shit, and the House and Senate reports.
Wow. Now watch your back. Keep your gun on you.
I'm not worried about it because that's what they see. They try to get me to move out. I know where I'm at. I'm safe. Because the bottom line is everybody knows knowing the truth, so they can't run and hide now, especially me running for office. So I get to ask the questions. I'm not after $1 million. I just want them to honor their oath of office. if that makes sense.
Sure, it makes sense. Yeah, that's exactly right. If I wasn't as old as I am, I'd probably try it again, but I've give up on all that stuff. I run for a judge twice too, and that was fun too.
Oh yeah, but see, I'm having fun with it because it's like with this information that's coming out publicly now, and you know what's going on right now publicly in the media, and what I'm able to put in the media now, they can't run and hide because it's been in the media for years that I've been in these positions. So you know I've superseded all their crap they've thrown at me, if that makes sense.
It does.
So I'm just bringing it all out and wondering, going, here you guys go. You guys did all this for years. How much money did you make off of me? I'm still here. You know, and you use the taxpayers to use money off of me. You made false police reports. You did all this stuff. Isn't that criminal charges? Isn't that criminal? Isn't that a felony that you should go to jail for? So now I'm filing this in the Supreme Court. So they're freaking out. Because I'm just asking for the public records. And by office, I'm just giving them out to the media. So, you know. My whole deal is that I'm just, you know, grateful. I'm still kicking, you know, after all the things I've been through in the last couple of years, the heart attacks and everything.
Yeah,
so
well,
that's just,
it's tough.
Well, I know, but see, the thing is, we're still alive and we're talking right now, so that's the best part about it. We're able to talk, and we're still here. We didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. We're still fighting the battle.
So, but we're watching changes. We're seeing bigger changes. I mean, now all of a sudden you see Hannity coming out with the truth that he's a Democrat and we need to save our democracy. And it's like, I've been telling people, watch these people for years what they're going to do, and they're doing this, and then watching people going, you know, I watched this, and I said this to somebody the other day, and I said, did you catch that with Hannity going with democracy? And you're saying, why are you saying Republic? You're supposed to be following Hannity. You watch him, you're not talking, you know, it's like, and they're all of a sudden started catching what they were, and I'm like, you're catching on, huh? You didn't catch the switch that they did on election, did you? Have you noticed some of the new TV commercials and stuff out there? What's going on?
We're going through the same thing with Romney here.
Oh, God, yeah. I still can't believe you guys got Romney is still there. I just still can't believe that one.
I can't either.
Who's got the money that's funding him to keep him in the position? That's the thing.
You can pretty well guess who that is.
Well, I don't think that's coming from the Clintons.
Oh, how about our church?
Oh, that's right, the Mormons.
Yeah.
Oh, good old religion.
He's got a lot of money, too. He's got a lot of money.
Yeah. But see, that's what gets to me. Religion is supposed to be separated from the state as a state of business, and it's not.
No, we know. Yeah, we both know better than that.
So, but we are seeing changes going on. I mean, the Haight-Ashbury days were great, but they didn't catch on to what they really needed to conquer at that point. Everybody was still being stupid. I grew up in that era, man. I was watching people that not paying attention what they were doing by making the changes. You know, that was the most interesting part, you know, growing up in San Francisco in the 70s and 80s.
I'll bet it would.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I agree with you. Yeah, that would have been tough.
So, where did you grow up?
Here in Utah, all my life. Yeah, and I've seen the same thing. I just hated waking up one day in my 60s and realize everything I've learned is all lies.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. we'll figure it out.
Well, we are figuring it out, and that's what's blowing them away because, you know, everybody's starting to stand up, and you got all these guys out there that, you know, out there with their hand out, and I always have fun with people, you know, because, I mean, I could be out there charging for what I do, but I just say people got the kindness, they can help me out. I help, you know, help them out with their court case, I give them information. And I blow people's mind on the information I give them. And I said, then you have to start researching it. You have to follow it. You have to take control of the monster. You know, once you take control of that and you got that research down and you know exactly who you can start getting into and how to start, you know. And it's like the other main point, too, is remember with the state and the city and county, they are owned by somebody. So somebody has to have a copyright law on it. So find out who's got the copyright on it, because I know who's got the copyright on the State of Oregon Corporation. You know, and that's one of the bar attorneys. You know, but see, it's knowing this, and then you start filing this stuff on these people. You know, and that's the best part. You start filing on it. So, and, you know, that's the whole point of bringing this out.
Yep. Well,
So,
thank you.
Huh?
I just said thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, I thank everybody else because I think a lot of people send me emails, a lot of people send me notes, a lot of people send me stuff, say, take a look at this, or what do you think about this, Ed? And all of a sudden I'm off on a different trail, whatever they sent me, so I'm writing something up, putting something together from that thing, and then I get it out and get public, so yeah, I do pay attention. People do send me a lot of stuff, and it gets me on direction. So I can't always say thanks to everybody, you know, when it comes down to it, because I don't have the time to stop and take the break, if that makes sense.
If I may.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Hi, this is Kerry on Utah. I'm a friend of Deloy's that was talking a minute ago. But if it's okay with you, Ed, I'll just share your email with Deloy if he needs it.
That sounds good.
Pass it around. You can type my name in. I'm all over YouTube and stuff. I'm not bashful.
Well, I don't like sharing somebody's stuff without their permission, so that's...
No, I'm doing this. That's why I'm going public, because I went public with my medical records because, see, I went for 10 years where they were trying to tell everybody I was faking my broken neck. Okay? They tried to have the general public and the media convinced I didn't have my neck broken on the job. And then when it came out, you know, all of a sudden people started waking up to what was going on in my community. You know, so they know I got screwed. People know what's going on. You know, because I mean, if Workman's Comp would have paid me what I should have got when I got my neck broken, instead of putting me on the state system as they did, they should have just put me on. They put me on the state system instead. I should have had $2.2 or $2.9 million used to get from like a lawsuit or settlement. So I never got that. And then they claim that they paid me $47,000 for my broken neck when I never got any of that money. They have filed all these papers saying they've paid me all this type of money, and I've never received a dime. And I've filed back with the state and all this stuff, playing their filing games and proving it. So, and I can prove they've never paid me anything. So I'm making it public. You know, they've been lying to the general public, so let's bring it on the table. You know, I figure one way, the best way to do it is running for office. Let's put it on the table, folks. You know, because what am I going to do? You know, I can't hide from the facts and the truth. You know, they kept on telling the general public, you know, we're going to protect you. We're going to give you all this stuff in democracy. And, you know, when it comes to disabled and elderly, we got screwed. You know, I mean, I should have got my lump settlement. I should have been on my way. I should have not been working. I could have owned a restaurant probably back then. You know, I would have paid for everything. I could have had employees. I could have paid for that. You know, I could have probably had enough where I could have, you know, insurance and everything for the employees and stuff. See, there are ways of doing stuff, but they didn't like it because people were actually doing that. And the system didn't like it because people in the government got upset because they felt if you were able to go do that, you should have been able to do that without getting injured on the job. So they said, basically, you know, I mean, my neck was broken on the job. I worked 7 years with a broken neck. And this is what they do, try to kill you so that way you do it. So now I'm bringing it up. That's why a lot of these administrative rules and stuff is changing, because people are getting it, because not only me, but a lot of other men and women are standing up out there. And I thank them for standing up, too, sharing their stories and information, because we bounce all of ours back and forth. So, anybody else like to throw one in?
Oh, I heard something today that's kind of interesting. Bill Gates, founder of Microsoft, is stepping down. I think he's leaving the foundation and everything. So my guess is he's probably getting arrested or something. No
problem. That's a good deal, because I've heard something. Anybody else would like to chime in with something on that one? So, no, I've heard something similar, too, that he's stepping down. It's possible that he was charged with criminal charges because he was sponsoring a lot of vaccinations, and so people were filing on it. So it became a media spectrum on that to see if it was really him or not, and some of it turned out it was him, and they were doing tampering with the medication that they were giving the general public. So there has been a court case that has arose out of that. So we don't know what all the truth is going to be with all that, but it is interesting how Bill Gates' foundation was trapped up in some of those vaccinations. So, yeah, you're going to see a few other people be stepping down, and they're stepping down. They're going to try to say that they're giving all their wealth to all these nonprofit agencies. But that's the one thing is, like I always tell people, look at the nonprofit agencies these people are giving them. Do the research on the board members. Who's covering for them? Who's taking the heat for them? You know, or they got an insurance bond company that they bought up that stock or something. There's a lot of possibilities of things that could happen because they could do it as a corporation, not as a living man and woman. So it depends on what you're doing, on how part of the system is bouncing around, if you see how that could happen. So it is interesting what's going on with the structure around us, and it is, in some regards, some ways, it's disturbing because, you know, who, what, why, and how is going to happen. So,
if I may.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned doing the research. There's a website I discovered. I don't know how long it's been around, but it's really good for doing that sort of thing. It's called LilSis.com, LILSIS. LilSis.com, like the opposite of Big Brother, little sister, you know.
Okay.
Check it out. It's pretty good. You put in a name and it'll show all the corporate relationships they have with all different companies and other people and so forth. It's pretty good. I yield.
No, good. That's good information. That's how you can track down people. So simple. You can track down who's a corporation, who's a man, living man and woman, who's an owner, who's using their straw man account, who's not using their straw man account. You know, it is one of those things of learning how it all works. You know, once everybody knows how it all works, we wouldn't have, like I said, it's simple once you get it. But just be careful so you don't get in trouble, because you got a lot of people that try to get you into these programs and stuff, and they run you into a dead-end channel. And so be very careful with that. I've seen some of that myself. You know, that's the one thing you don't want to do to yourself. Because we get a lot of that really going on. So, but anyhow, I'm going to be starting to get the other point out. I'll be putting together, it should be on my website coming up, because I'll have all the structure with all the Senate and House hearings, with all the tapes where they did all that, so I can make sure it's all public up there. That way, they gotta see what the truth is, and so I'm just bringing the truth to them. So this is the part that we shouldn't be living in this era of time. With the technology we got and all this, our public servants should be honorable servants and not sitting there and trying to destroy other people's family for personal and financial obligations. It is really sad we're living in this structure today. So with that, anybody else like to add anything?
Yeah, Ed?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Not sure if you've ever heard of this. It's a book I'm starting to read. It's called The New Confessions of Economic Hitman by John Perkins.
Okay.
It explains how the elite are manipulating our economy by making it either go up or down, or by taking by offering other countries money, and if they can't pay it back, they steal their resources.
Right.
Kind of like what they've done here. They offer us.
It's what they've done here, but see, not to cut you off, but see, the point is that these people didn't have a right to sign contracts or put up public land. See, that's the point. They didn't have authority to put up public land. They didn't own land in this country, so they couldn't have put it up.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I find very frustrating, is that they're turning around and trying to get us to pay taxes on something they don't own in the first damn place. It's like a lot of things. It's like a lot of things. They turn around and say, "Oh, it's the law," but when you look into it, there is no law on it. And like child support, taxes, them owning land, there is no law that says that they own anything. And it's just it's like what they say: when you go into court, go in confident. That's how a lot of it's won. It's by just bluffing your way through it and manipulating the people's thoughts, because these nitwits are basically, I guess we're the nitwits. We don't know what the hell they're talking about. We just, okay.
No, and that's the point that I'm going through with this right now, because I'm throwing my name, I'm running for office because I'm bringing this stuff out to the general public. And wait a minute, the law says I don't have to pay taxes. Why are you trying to murder me? Didn't the law say this, or am I reading the law wrong? I figured the best way to do it is run for office, if that makes sense.
It does.
Because I'm not only doing this for me, I'm doing this for you, everybody else, because some other people have done it, but I'm bringing it out with their own administrative rules. I'm bringing it out. I'm not sitting there like some have done in the past trying to make a buck off it. I don't want the damn money. I want to be tax-free. I want what I earned, what my, what I'm supposed to get. So, that is the point that, we're going through this crazy stuff that we shouldn't be living this way we're living.
Well, also, I think this is a good time for everybody that has children or grandchildren, since they're off for the next 2 weeks. Be a good time to, run across some of the stuff, let them see the videos that are on the website of New Oregon Trackers, and let them see for themselves, and then explain to them, because they're going to be sitting there for the next 2 weeks. I mean, really, this is not a global pandemic. this is actually a global panic on everybody's part.
Right.
I mean, I've gone to the stores and I can't believe these people are freaking out. I mean, let's really stop and use our head. I mean, come on. The flu kills more people than this coronavirus has done. And you don't go out and buy tons and tons of toilet paper. For what reason, I have no idea, but apparently that's what
Yeah, why are we being taught this fear right now? What is the real truth that they're not telling us then?
I believe what I find is so funny is that it all started at the same time that the 5G got started.
Right.
I believe because it's operating at 60 gigahertz, which is interfering with our oxygen that our body takes in, is why I think that everybody's having this supposedly dry cough.
No, it's like, I think that, when I had my heart attack, the first one I had, 2013, I thought it was interesting because they just put a cell tower up in my backyard without my knowledge. And a couple other things changed around here where they literally changed the ecosystem. And I started bitching about it. Next thing you know, I'm having a massive heart attack. On the 5G tower, I'm like, what the hell? That wasn't there. You couldn't have put that up. We didn't authorize it. And next thing you know, I'm zapped to hell. So to me, it's crazy, I know, but I just thought it was just interesting timing. Crazy as it might sound. So, I mean, there are things that make you go,
Yes.
Because there's things around here. I mean, I've been in this little nook for 30 years. And when I first moved here, shit, everybody was partying in the streets, literally drinking, walking up and down the streets with the booze. Nobody gave a shit. There was no gunfire. There was no shooting. Cops didn't pull you over and arrest you unless you hurt somebody. And then they put in that courthouse, and next thing you know, you couldn't have a party. Without paying the city or county. I told people that was going to happen. Nobody wanted to listen to me. So we're living worse than what we really think we are on some of these things. So, I mean, it is interesting what's going to come down the pike, what these teenagers are going to have to live with. Because if they don't start getting this now, they're going to be really screwed. Because we're seeing what we're living with right now, and it's not a happy change. We got our public servants that are not honoring their oath of servitude. They're assaulting people. They're getting away with it because the partners are allowing them to get away with it. And so, I mean, I'm still with amazed and shock, I'm being arrested in my front yard for telling the cop he couldn't arrest this lady because he doesn't have a warrant and he can't do that. And he's like, still have fun with the judge telling me when I told him to fuck off, he tries to have me killed in jail, and that didn't work. So, we all got these issues going on. And people are paying attention to us when we're talking about them now. And so, and also, too, for those who are not aware, we do have a link. If you want stuff put, we do have a public notice bulletin board on the new .org and trackers.com or .org. So if you're doing public notices, our website is a public notice station. So, and that way you can always go there, it's always there. And then the other thing is that I got to figure out some ways, because we got to look at coming up with some means to keep us in advance on the website and channel here. So we got to figure out. I got to come up with some ways or solutions that are batting that around for people. For coming up with some ways for solutions so we can do some fundraising or something like that, because the charges us, to keep the station up and all this is running us basically $300 a year, and I'm just disabled, and I got more money going on the other side with my medical right now. So batting that around with some thoughts. If anybody's got some ideas and thoughts, that'd be nice. So, but anyhow, the whole thing is we are making change. We are seeing changes. When I was in the hospital, I was listening to doctors and nurses. They got it. They knew what was going on. And believe me, these people really do know what's going on. So it depends on how you talk to them and how you get your information across and how you get service done. Because, when I was up there, I got pretty good, responses and service. I had to listen to my options, but, that's part of life when you go through these things in life and you get older. So, but the main thing is file on your soil. Start owning your property. And that's the other point, I'll get the other letter back up and out, because I've been trying to get a couple people that asked me on that, on the letter on filing on your soil, and I'll get that put up on the Facebook pages. And so I'll set that up there. So please read them. Once you start filing in your area, your town, and start doing this, you start filing in your areas on the right ways to own yourself, to own your land, to own your structures. They're listening. I'm running for office. I see the game what I got coming up in front of me. We've had, one police chief was literally indicted, convicted of 21 out of 22 charges. I've been involved, several police officers lost their jobs in this community. So now it's time for the ones who put the innocent parties in front of them to take their responsibility. And so that's what we have to do. So, anybody else got anything they would like to add to tonight?
If I may.
Go.
I guess I told you the wrong address when I told you about Little Sis. It's spelled out LITTLESIS, and it's .org. So littlesis.org. All right. Sorry about that.
Okay. I have to figure out why my computer ain't coming on. I got a button that smashed in my computer, the on and off button, so it sucks trying to get that to work sometimes. Okay. Now I need to try to get on. So I'm going to try to write that down. So, okay. So, and then what is the foundation of that site?
Pardon me?
What is the foundation of it?
Oh, LITTLESIS.org. O-R-G.
Okay.
That's the one that does a map on people's names for a company. You put in Mitt Romney, it shows all his affiliations and stuff. Or Michael Bloomberg or whoever. I yield.
Now, that's the good information that we need to be putting up on the website too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you. That's the whole point. We want to make sure that we get this stuff out, and that's the whole point of sharing the education. Because if we're not educating our own, it ain't gonna happen. It's like yesterday. I was having a group trying to get me into their. It was interesting. I had a group trying to get me into their conversation, and for some reason we couldn't get in. YouTube would not let me to get in on their YouTube channel with them. So I thought that was interesting. But I've had a lot of good success with YouTube, so I don't have not much on them. I've never been blocked for my access or stuff like other people have. So I've been lucky on that one, because the only thing that we do is we just prove facts and evidence, because we don't do hearsay here, so can't do hearsay. So anyhow, anybody else got anything else they would like to add this evening? Okay. Well, with that, folks, I'd like to call it an evening. Appreciate everybody joining us. May the Creator look over you. May the Great Spirit bless you, and Mother definitely feed us and take care of us. And with that, may you all have